Welcome back to Aviation India. Today we're leaving the water behind and heading into the sky because not every aircraft has aged as well as we'd like to believe. Some planes carry nostalgia and history, but others reveal their weaknesses the older they get, and the Piper Cherokee is one of them. In this video, we'll break down 5 reasons to avoid the old Piper Cherokee and explain why what once looked like a reliable trainer and family airplane might now be more of a headache than a dream. Aging airframes. The Piper Cherokee was first introduced in the early 1960s, and many of the models still flying today are half a century old or more. With that kind of age, corrosion in the fuselage and wings becomes a serious issue, especially if the aircraft spend time in humid or coastal environments. Even with regular maintenance, decades of stress on the metal can lead to fatigue cracks that aren't always visible until they cause bigger problems. Inspecting and repairing these issues requires specialized mechanics and hours of labor, which means high costs. Buyers often think they're getting a bargain, only to discover hidden damage during pre-buy inspections. It's not that the Cherokee was badly built. It's that time eventually catches up with every airframe, and with these older models, that time has already passed. And the longer they stay in service, the higher the risk that something small turns into a major safety concern. That's why so many mechanics warn new owners that with old Cherokees, what you don't see is often more dangerous than what you do. Limited performance. When the Cherokee came out, its performance was acceptable for light general aviation use. But compared to today's aircraft, it struggles to keep up. The climb rate is slow, especially on hot days or when carrying passengers, which makes departures from short runways nerve-wracking. Cruise speeds are modest, meaning longer trips take more time and more fuel. Useful load is another problem. Add a couple of passengers and bags, and suddenly you're bumping right against the airplane's weight limits. For student pilots, this might not feel like a big deal, but for owners trying to use it as a family hauler, the performance leaves a lot to be desired. At the end of the day, the Cherokee does the job, but it feels like driving an old car on today's highways. Safe enough, but far from efficient. And when compared side by side with Cessnas or more modern trainers, the Cherokee shows its age quickly. Pilots often describe it as honest but underwhelming, which says a lot about what you can expect in the cockpit. Outdated avionics. One of the biggest headaches with older Cherokees is their avionics. Many of them still carry instruments and radios from the 1970s or early 80s, which not only limits what you can do in controlled airspace, but also creates reliability problems. GPS systems may be absent or outdated. Autopilot functions are either non-existent or primitive, and even basic navigation can feel like stepping back in time. For some pilots, this nostalgia might sound charming, but when you're actually in the cockpit, it quickly becomes frustrating. Of course, you can upgrade the panel with modern glass avionics, but that can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars, often more than the aircraft itself is worth on the market. This makes the Cherokee less of a budget buy and more of a money sink, unless you're willing to fly with outdated equipment. And even if you do upgrade, the investment rarely increases the resale value enough to justify the cost. That leaves many owners stuck with either flying old technology or overspending to modernize a dated plane. Maintenance costs. At first glance, the Piper Cherokee seems like a cheap entry point into aviation, but once you factor in ongoing maintenance, the costs rise quickly. Parts availability isn't what it used to be, and while some components are still manufactured, others need to be sourced from salvage yards or custom-made, which drives up the price. Engines on older Cherokees may be nearing their time between overhaul limits, which means a major expense of $20,000 or more just to keep it airworthy. Routine inspections take longer because mechanics have to check for age-related wear and tear, and unexpected repairs pop up more often than with newer aircraft. It's easy to buy a Cherokee for a low price, but keeping it safe and reliable in the long term can drain your wallet faster than you'd expect. That's why many pilots say the Cherokee is cheap to buy, expensive to own. What looks like a deal in the beginning can quickly snowball into a financial nightmare once the maintenance bills start stacking up. Safety limitations. Finally, we need to talk about safety. While the Cherokee was a safe and practical design in its time, aviation standards have changed dramatically over the decades. Many older models don't have shoulder harnesses, energy-absorbing seats, or reinforced cabins, which are features considered essential in modern aircraft. Add in aging structures, outdated avionics, and limited performance, and you're left with an airplane that simply doesn't provide the same margin of safety as newer designs. Accidents involving older Cherokees often highlight these weaknesses, and while no airplane is perfectly safe, there are far better options available today. The reality is, nostalgia can't replace modern safety, and that's a big reason why pilots think twice before choosing an old Cherokee. And while modifications exist to improve safety, installing them only adds to the already high ownership costs, leaving most owners to simply fly them as is. That gap between what's safe today and what was safe in the 60s is hard to ignore when you're putting lives on board. So while the Piper Cherokee will always hold a respected place in aviation history, the older models bring more challenges than benefits. With aging structures, limited performance, outdated avionics, high maintenance costs, and safety shortcomings, it's clear why many experienced pilots advise avoiding them. If you're considering one, make sure you understand what you're getting into, because what looks like a bargain on paper can quickly turn into a long and expensive project. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more right here on Aviation India.